Shalom Lakem, Kal Yashara'al. How's your peace, Israel? Welcome back to another video. And we're dealing with the topic at hand, which is whose instructions are more important, your parents or God? Okay? And we're going to pick it up in the book of Genesis, chapter 22, verses 1 to verses 19. And it reads on this wise. Sometimes later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am. He replied. Then God said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and loaded his donkey. He took with him 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. When he had cut enough wood for the burnt offering, he set out for the place God had told him about. On the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servant, stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you. But Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac, and he himself carried the fire and the knife, as the 2 of them went on together. Isaac spoke up and said to his father Abraham, Father. Yes, my son, Abraham replied. The fire and the wood are here, Isaac said, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham answered, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. And the 2 of them went on together. When they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. Here I am, he replied. Do not lay a hand on the boy, he said. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. Abraham looked up, and there in a thicket he saw a ram caught by its thorns. He went over and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called that place, the Lord will provide, and to this day it is said, on the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. The angel of the Lord called to Abraham from heaven a second time and said, I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand of the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies, and through your offspring all nations on the earth will be blessed because you have obeyed me. Then Abraham returned to his servants, and they set off together for Beersheba, and Abraham stayed in Beersheba. Okay, that was Abraham's obedience to God's commands to sacrifice Isaac, shows prioritization of God's will, though it ultimately blessed both Abraham and his descendants. Okay, we're going to go into the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 2, verses 12 to verses 25. Okay, and it reads on this wise. Eli's sons were scoundrels, they had no regard for the Lord. Now it was the practice of the priests that whenever any of the people offered a sacrifice, the priest's servants would come with a three-pronged fork in his hands while the meat was being boiled, and would plunge the fork into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. Whatever the fork brought up, the priest would take for himself. This is how they treated all the Israelites who came to Shiloh. But even before the fat was burned, the priest's servant would come and say to the person who was sacrificing, give the priest some meat to roast. He won't accept boiled meat from you, but only raw. If the person said to him, let the fat be burned first, then take whatever you want, the servant would answer, no, hand it over. If you don't, I will take it by force. This sin of the young man was very great in the Lord's sight, for they were treating the Lord's offering with contempt. But Samuel was ministering before the Lord, a boy wearing a linen ephod. Each year his mother made him a little robe and took it to him when she went up with her husband to offer the annual sacrifice. Eli would bless Elkanah and his wife, saying, may the Lord give you children by this woman to take the place of the one she prayed for and gave to the Lord. Then they would go home. and the Lord was gracious to Hannah. She gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. Meanwhile, the boy Samuel grew up in the presence of the Lord. Now Eli was very old, heard heard about everything his sons were doing to all Israel, and how they slept with the women who served at the entrance of the tent in the meeting. So he said to them, "Why do you do such things? I hear from all the people about these wicked deeds of yours. No, my sons, the report I hear spreading among the Lord's people is not good. If one person sins against another, God may mediate for the offender. But if anyone sins against the Lord, who will intercede for them?" His sons, however, did not listen to their father's rebuke, for it was the Lord's will to put them to death. And that was Eli's sons disregard both their father and God's instructions, leading to the judgment against them and their family. Okay. Now we're going to go into the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verses 12. And it reads on this wise: Honor your father and your mother, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you. Okay? Honor your father and mother, but this falls within the larger context of honoring God first. Okay? We're going to read in the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verses 37, and it reads on this wise: Anyone who loves their father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and anyone who loves their son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Okay? And it reads that the Mashiach teaches that love, or it says Jesus teaches that Jesus teaches that love for God must surpass even familial ties. Okay? And we're going to now go into the book of Acts, chapter 5, verses 29. And it reads on this wise: Peter and the other apostles replied, "We must obey God rather than human beings." Okay? It says we must obey God rather than human beings, underscoring divine authority over all. Last scripture is the book of Jubilees, chapter 7, verses 20. And it reads on this wise: And in the 28th Jubilee, Noah began to enjoin upon his sons' sons the ordinances and commandments and all the judgments that he knew, and he exhorted his sons to observe righteousness and to cover the shame of their flesh, and to bless their Creator, and honor father and mother, and love their neighbor, and guard their souls from fornication and uncleanness and all iniquity. Okay? And that was Noah instructs his sons to follow God's laws above all else. Okay? And we were dealing with the topic at hand, which was whose instructions are more important, parents or God? Okay? So I only hope the reader and listener to this word will be blessed by this, and may Yahweh bless you, may Yahweh keep you, may Yahweh cause his face to shine upon you, may Yahweh be gracious to you, may Yahweh lift up his countenance upon you, and may Yahweh grant you everlasting peace. In Yahshua HaMashiach's name I pray. Selah.